And how dare anyone give anyone a deadline to respond, knowing fully well I was about to face the Malacanang press corps.
But, sir,
Now I understand why you insist on exclusivity in the Malacanang press corps.
But sir, about the idea of better informing the public, sir, you don't think it would serve you well if
I
you
do not
respond?
know because you did not give us an opportunity to speak, and it was really rather arrogant. You give me your response within the hour, despite the fact that we explained that we're about to have our regular press briefing. So as far as I'm concerned, that's very bad journalism. I will formally write to Reuters. As an advocate of press freedom, I thought that was really foul.
But sir, if we ask you now about your comment on the allegations in the report, for instance...
I do not know because, you know, she wanted me to comment on something that I do not know about, and she gave me a deadline minutes before I was scheduled to face you here in Malacanang Press Corps. I've not even seen her request to comment because my instinct was I can't do anything right now. I'm about to do a press call.
But have you since read the report,
No.
sir?
Okay, follow up muna si Ace. Follow up. Then Joseph Morong.
Well, nasabi na si Secretary hindi pa niya nabasa. So you haven't read the report because the report is already out. So you now have the opportunity to read it and answer it.
Yeah, it's out, but that's bad journalism. I don't comment on bad journalism.
Okay. So no comment. Thank you.
Okay, Joseph?
No, I don't comment on bad journalism. It's different from no comment.
Okay, thank you, Secretary.
I'll try to push the matter. In the story, the storyline there is that there's a patay, no? There's a policeman from Davao who was transferred here in Quezon City and who allegedly was the what do you call this? The killing group. And Station 6 was dubbed as the most was that the term? The most dangerous police station. Station 6, most lethal police stations. Station 6, Batasan, you're familiar with the malapit lang sa Congress yan, di ba? So, you can comment that there's a group of policemen from Davao who's doing the dirty work for the drug war.
What I do know is there is a writ of amparo issued by the Supreme Court against the police station. So the response is, we're not taking it sitting down. Government, when that petition for amparo was filed in the Supreme Court, did not oppose the petition. And that's why the Supreme Court issued the writ of amparo. So question, is government sanctioning the alleged operations of this Davao group? Clearly not, because in that petition, government did not oppose it. In effect, government agreed with the allegations of the petition, and that's why there was a writ of protection issued. That's why I'm very, very upset at that really bad journalism of Reuters.
All right, so that's what you could have told Reuters if they had
And it's a
more
matter
time.
of record. The writ of amparo was directed against the same police station that she wrote about. So the only issue here in terms of human rights is that the state undertaking its treaty obligation to protect and promote the right to life, no? Where there are allegations of extralegal killings, no? And the obligation of the state is to investigate, punish, prosecute, and give the victims adequate domestic legal remedy. We did. The Supreme Court and the OSG did not oppose, issued the writ of protection, writ of amparo, which includes the duty to investigate alleged perpetrators of human rights violations.
So
that's
there-
a matter of record. There's a decision of the Supreme Court in this regard.
Sir, wala yung parang may inuutusan na particular group, no?
Well, the point is there's protection ordered by the Supreme Court, which government did not oppose.
Okay.
Government is obligated to investigate. Government is obligated to punish the perpetrators thereof. That's how a writ of amparo operates. A writ of amparo will not provide for criminal sanctions against the respondents. What it will do is it will prompt the respondents to investigate, and the PNP right now is under obligation to investigate and confirm the reports of the petitioners in the writ of amparo. And I stress, no, this writ of amparo was precisely against the same police station mentioned by this reporter.
Sir, down the line, no, assuming may nag-granting or writ of amparo and then may investigation that proves that, you know, may certain liability yung mga policemen that were mentioned in the report, what's going to happen to them in light of what the President said na lahat ng mga police na nagkakaroon ng ganyang operation, if they are defending themselves, sa akin yan.
Yes. Well, that's why if the investigation concludes that the police operation complained about was pursuant to the law, then the President will stand by the policemen. But as in the case of Kian, if it is proven that there was excessive use of force and that the use of force is tantamount to murder, then the President will order their prosecution. Now, the nature also of the writ of amparo is that the court itself will inquire from the PNP regularly what is the status of the investigation, what can you tell us about the truth or falsity of the claims made by the petitioners.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Other issue? Dexter Ganibe to be followed by Pia, then Philip. Marisa.
You know, I hasten to add, had she only checked her facts, she should have known about the writ of amparo. Shows you the quality, no?
Dexter?
Sir, other issue. Ano po ang pananaw ng Malacanang doon sa 6 million Christmas party
Ng
ng
PCSO?
PCSO?
Well, number one, I have no information yet because media reported that this was a statement attributed to Director Sandra Cam. Number two, well, I think you know that the President does not tolerate extravagance. So we do not know yet. No? I'm sure the President will look into the matter. As you know, he's very sensitive to what is reported by his own people, no, in the different branches of government.
May utos ba, sir, na dahil may nagbunyag na director din ng PCSO? Na-
Well, let's just say that
To
with
look
or
into it.
without an order, the President takes heed.
Okay. Other issue? May follow-up question? Other issue, Pia?
Sir, on the GAA, what parts of the national budget did the President veto?
In my same conversation with the Executive Secretary, I inquired on the veto message, and he said that he will furnish me in due course. So I will answer you in due course when I have the written document, which is the veto message. That's coming from the President, of course.
Okay, Philip?
Sir, good morning. On the entry of the telco player from China, Senators Trilon, Lacson, and De Lima said that we should be wary about its entry. Senator Trilon pointed out that China Telecom is owned by the Chinese government. Could you have a comment, sir?
Well, they shouldn't worry because government is already worried. That's why in the last cabinet meeting, when Secretary Rio reported on the steps taken on the third telco, the marching order really is to ensure the country's cybersecurity. No? So other than the fact that we will take steps to protect our cybersecurity with the entry of China Telecoms, I can't say anything else.
Will they be required, I mean, the telco and its local partner, to secure a legislative franchise from Congress? Because the President said it should be up and going by the first quarter.
Well, I think the fact that they're only entitled to minority shares would mean they would have to partner with a Philippine corporation with an existing franchise. We do not know. The predisposition of DICT is to form a consortium of Filipino companies.
So that first quarter target is still doable.
That's the order, the marching order of the President.
Thank you, sir.
Follow-up, Celerina?
Sir, during my interview with Secretary Rio the other day, he told
Rio?
me... Yeah,
Yes.
the DICT secretary. He told me that it doesn't follow daw na it's the Chinese Chinese telecom which will enter the Philippines. Parang there will be a criteria that they will be presenting, and it would be up to the consortium to choose which partner, foreign partner. So, like for instance, daw Telstra. So, ganun ba talaga, sir? Or China na talaga?
Well, all I can say is that in the bilateral with the Chinese premier, the President invited China to provide the third telecoms player. As to the details, I do not know. The latest instruction of the President, a copy of which I furnished all of you, is that it must be up and about in the first quarter of 2018.
So right now, it's really China. Wala yung ibang countries. Hindi sila pwede.
All I know is that China has since nominated China Telecoms. But again, you know, there is, of course, freedom to contract. What we will select will be the 60% consortium. And that's where Secretary Rio promised absolute transparency.
Okay, last two na tayo. Marisol Halili, then Laila Salaveria.
Sir, on the BBL, can you tell us at least some of the provisions that the President considers constitutionally infirm?
Actually, I heard him with the rest of you when he mentioned that there's some which might contravene the Constitution, but I've not since had occasion to sit down with him and ask him which provisions these are, although Senate President did single out that you can't have a different form of government within the Bangsamoro entity, different from the presidential form of government. That's what Senate President Coco Pimentel, our bar top notcher, observed, which we, of course, agree with.
Sir, were these constitutionally questionable provisions only belated realized? Kasi Malacanang submitted the draft BBL to Congress in August. So wala bang study before it
Well,
was sent to
remember
Congress?
there are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 versions of the BBL. And that's why Congress, yeah, but there are other versions as well. No, they have to consolidate it. No? In the process of consolidation, I'm sure Congress, as the Supreme Court has said, knows what it is doing, and they will evaluate the provisions very closely. Being guided by the prior decision of the Supreme Court on the ancestral domain, on the Memorandum on Ancestral Domain.
Sir, but the BTC version, the one that Malacanang submitted to Congress, did it undergo a thorough study?
I wasn't in Malacanang yet at that time. I was in Congress, so I do not know, But as I said, it's now an obligation of Congress to act on the pending bills, and we trust Congress will decide correctly.
Last question, Joseph Morong.
So in the BBL, that statement from the President said na I don't think he will hurdle constitutional barriers. Does it not take the wind out of the sail of BBL? And you know how hard it was to push last administration. Now he has the political capital to do that, but he's saying these things. Does it not take the wind out of the sail, and that's going to be potentially
you
be a
see,
problem?
because of separation of powers, he can't predict how the other branches of government will act on the BBL as soon as it is passed by Congress. And that is why construing his latest statements with his previous statements, he also said that we better be prepared for an alternative. And he did say that if it doesn't pass the test of constitutionality, then we can resort to further autonomy. And of course, there is still federalism, because obviously, if it is declared unconstitutional, then the remedy is to amend the Constitution. So it's something that stakeholders must consider also, whether or not they will insist on the BBL first or wait until the Constitution has been amended. But the President is being true to his promise to everyone that he will pursue BBL.
Sir, anyway, I'll leave the topic. Sa Sandra Cam na lang, sir. Do you think that the 6 million budget, according to the PCO, is an extravagant budget? PCSO?
Well, number one, I do not know if it's 6 million. That's why we will have to verify. It's according to Sandra Cam.
No.
So
10,
we have
according Sandra Cam says it's 10, the PCO says, PCSO says it's 6. Still in the millions for a party.
I do not know yet, but remember, PCSO is nationwide, So we'll have to verify, because the information just came out yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I will formally communicate with both the General Manager and Director Sandra Cam.
If true, 6 million is extravagant or not?
We don't know, because we do not know how big that party was, considering that PCSO is a nationwide organization. Let me check first, okay, what the breakdown of 6 million is, and let me confer with the President.
Right.
Anyway, we will see each other in Marawi.
Okay, last question, Celerina. Microphone. Thank you, Pia.
Sir, regarding the complaint of these 24 congressmen who did not receive now this allocation from the budget, would this be the policy now of the administration na if you're against the administration, you would receive 0 or less budget for your constituents?
I'm sorry, but that question is based on the wrong premise that we control Congress. There is separation of powers. Congress has exclusive and primary jurisdiction in the preparation and approval of the budget. We had nothing to do with whatever decision both houses of Congress had on the alleged deprivation of projects as far as opposition congressmen are concerned. That's something that should be addressed to the leadership of both houses of Congress.
But sir, what will happen to the constituents, to these places where they will be deprived of their infrastructure projects?
As I said, number one, since it's not our business, we do not know if it's true. Number two, even if it's true, we can't do anything about it because of the separation of powers. That's something that Congress alone can decide.
So the national government, like the executive, since the different departments is under you, you would not provide any project or allocation for them?
It's not a decision that we make because all public funds must be supported by an expenditure law. So it's not for us a decision for the executive to make. It's a decision that Congress makes.
So do you think these congressmen, just your opinion, these congressmen should not oppose whatever the administration would push?
I can't comment because I do not know, number one, if it's true. Even if it were true, I can't comment because we have nothing to do with that since that's an exclusive prerogative of Congress itself.
Okay, thank you, Salarina. Thank you. No more question. Thank you, Malacanang Press Corps. Thank you, Presidential Spokesperson Harry Roque. Back to our main studio sa Radyo Pilipinas
Thank you.
and People's
Merry
Television.
Christmas.